For decades, a specific patch of the North Atlantic Ocean has been widely regarded as the most dangerous and deceptive place on Earth. It is a region of water that does not exist on any official map, yet it has become a global synonym for the unexplainable. The reputation began with Christopher Columbus in 1492. As he neared the Bahamas, he recorded that his compasses began to northwest and northeast on their own. Later, he described the sea rising to great heights and saw a light on the horizon, likened to a small wax candle, rising and falling before vanishing. In 1881, the crew of the cargo ship Ellen Austin reportedly sighted an abandoned vessel in the same waters. It was fully stocked with supplies and plunder, but devoid of life. According to the legend, the men who attempted to salvage the ship were lost in a heavy fog, and the ghost ship disappeared completely, taking the boarding crew with it. The legend was cemented in 1945 with the disappearance of Flight 19. 5 Navy TBM Avenger torpedo bombers vanished during a routine training run after their leader reported that his compasses had failed. His final radio transmission described entering white water before the signal cut out forever. These stories of failing compasses, ghost ships, and missing pilots converged over time. They provided the raw material for what would become a massive geographical mystery. Officially bounded by the U.S., Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, estimations of the triangle size range from 500,000 to 1.5 million square miles. This region was named in 1964 by Vincent Gaddis, creating the Bermuda Triangle as a literary concept rather than a geographical fact. A decade later, Charles Berlitz turned the triangle into a global phenomenon. His 1974 book sold 20 million copies, popularizing the idea that ships and planes were being pulled into another dimension, abducted by aliens, or sunk by the ruins of Atlantis. This happened while the Cold War and the space age were in full swing. Even as NASA provided answers to some of life's greatest scientific questions, the public fascination with a supernatural oceanic portal only grew. In an age where the entire planet has been mapped and digitized, we can finally examine the marine casualty data to see if there's any truth to the hazard. Scientists have spent decades investigating natural explanations for the triangle's reputation, attempting to find a logical cause for a pattern of disaster. One major focus is magnetic declination. Navigators must always compensate for the difference between the magnetic North Pole and the geographic North Pole. Because the agonic line, where these two poles align, once passed through the triangle, theorists argued it caused navigators to get hopelessly off course. More recently, researchers identified craters on the seafloor caused by the explosive release of trapped methane gas. Some suggested these methane blowouts could reduce the density of the water above, causing vessels to lose buoyancy and sink instantly. These theories provide plausible mechanisms for a disaster, but they all share the same blind spot. They were formulated to explain a mortality rate that the data doesn't actually show. To find the reality of the triangle, we have to look at the Global Marine Casualty and Pollution Database, which tracks more than 150,000 maritime records. From 1982 to 2015, only 361 incidents occurred in the Bermuda Triangle, just 0.24. Aviation records show that since 1965, there has been only one documented commercial accident in the triangle, and it was attributed to poor weather-related decisions. Statistically, the likelihood of disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle is 90 times lower than the global average. If the area is statistically safe, we have to look at the specific environmental factors that claimed massive vessels like the USS Cyclops. This region is a primary corridor for hurricanes. Florida and Puerto Rico are hit by multiple systems nearly every year. Before modern satellite tracking, a ship could be caught in a 100-foot rogue wave or a major storm without warning to send a distress call. Human error is the second constant factor. Inexperienced boaters often underestimate the Gulf Stream, a turbulent current that moves 300 times faster than the Amazon River, capable of pulling a boat hundreds of miles off course in hours. Even the loss of Flight 19 has a mundane explanation. Analysis shows the lead pilot believed he was over the Florida Keys when he was actually over the Bahamas. He kept flying east into the open ocean, ignoring the radio operators who urged him to fly west until his planes simply ran out of fuel. The Triangle's history is not a record of supernatural phenomena, but a record of severe weather intersecting with human miscalculation. This is one of the most heavily trafficked maritime routes in the world. Over 5 centuries, a certain number of accidents are inevitable. The triangle is a product of confirmation bias. We only count the wrecks that occur within the imaginary borders we have drawn, ignoring the fact that they happen everywhere else with the same frequency. Once the data is applied, the world's most feared body of water becomes fabulously unremarkable. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle was never about geography. It was about our own desire to find a curse where there was only the sea and the wind.